Keith, MJKL Speedworks back again. We got her back, y'all. I guess it's time to do some rods and pistons, rings, ring gaps, and rod caps and rod bolts install. I guess let's have at it. All right, I've got the engine spun back around to this side. I noticed something. I don't know whether it's the dust in the air or the shit I had on my fingers, but I see a little dirt. It looks like bubbles, but it's not. I think there's some dirt in there. So just as a precaution, I'm gonna wipe it off with some mineral spirits, and I'll lube up the rod journals on the actual rods instead of putting it back on here. Right before I put each one on. Might take a little longer, and that's cool with me. I don't really care if it takes just a little longer. It's all part of the process, no biggie. So first thing I'm gonna do is clean this off. Then we'll flip the motor halfway back around. We'll break out our rings, read some instructions on the rings, how they go in, which ring goes where. Because like I said, the top piston, the top ring on the piston rings is coated. Middle ring is not. And then the bottom rings for the actual oil ring and the guide for the oil rings, they're not coated either. So they're pretty easy to notice in the back, in the package here. So I guess we will get started. All right, so we've got it spun around sideways here. I'm gonna start with 2, 4, 6, and 8. Why? Because those are what's sitting there on the shelf in front. So 2, 4, 6, and 8 go first. I like to do this. You can do it however you want, but I like to do this with these crank journals out of the way for the first 2 pistons, and then when I do the next 2 pistons, I'll spin the crank again and get these 2 journals out of the way. Because when you put these pistons down on, it's not that difficult, okay? But you can move it too quick and it go down too far and nick the journal with the rod. Nick the crank journal. You don't want to do that. You want to take your time. There's nothing wrong with going a little slow and making sure you get it done right. It's just a small step that takes an extra 2 minutes to go slow and do it right. You can slam this thing back together real fast. I got no problem with that. I think that's actually pretty dope, but I'm not going to slam it together real fast. So anyway, I got one of my pistons soaking over here in mineral spirits, getting last little shit that's left in there out. I'm going to put the oil ring on. I'll kind of show you how we put the oil ring on, and then I'll show you how we're going to gap these rings. We'll be able to get it all set up, get them out of the box, get them organized, all that good mess. So we'll be back. All right, here are our tiny little retainer rings. See how tiny and fine those are. We're going to use 2 per piston. They're going to wrap around this ring on the outside of here. See right here, the rippled one? That's actually the oil scraper. It's going to wrap, take one of these on each side of the oil scraper. And we'll use that to guide our piston in. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. But let me get a couple of these rings out and put them on the piston. It's not rocket science. So let me get a couple out real quick and I'll show you. Okay, here's my 2 outer rings. There it goes. Kinda, there we go. 2 outer rings. And here's my oil scraper. All right, so we're gonna take our piston. First, we're gonna put one oil scraper on. I'll try to get this camera to focus while we do it here. Yeah. Gonna go all the way down here. This is our oil scraper valley. We're gonna put 3 rings in here. The 2 tiny ones I got in my hand, plus the rippled one you just saw. All the way on the bottom. These things are so flimsy, they bend really, really easy. All right, so I got that one on, as you see. Not much to it. That's our oil scraper. See how much more simple it is to put this together when shit all over me. When it's all out, it's much easier. I like it. See what I'm doing with this bright ass light in my face though. Can't see though. I'm gonna do the oil scraper ring first. It actually looks like there's this tiny, tiny lip for the oil scraper. What's this stupid thing here? Focus. Focus. This thing's that knob, right? Ain't focusing. Anyway, there's an offset on the back of these rings. Really want you to be able to see it. There you go, you can kind of see it now. There's a little tiny offset. And that needs to have the rings pushing on it. So, do the oil scraper first. Oil scraper on. I'm going to try to separate these gaps, by the way. Right there's the gap on this one. I'll put it at the pin on the piston. Right there. And we're going to do this one over here. 9 degrees away. Super flexible. Pop right on there, no problem. And we'll do this one another 9 degrees out of the way. So it's complete opposite of the pin. These damn gloves make it difficult here because my gloves are sticking to everything. But I don't want to get the shit all over me. So, opposite of the pin. Get up there. Be right in the middle right here. That popped in, no problem. And there we go. Oil scraper rings are in. Nothing to it, y'all. Wasn't so complicated, was it? Alright, so now what we're going to do, we're actually going to use this piston to set our ring inside the bore so we can get our feeler gauges and get a feel on the depth and how big the gap is in our piston rings and how much we need to file them down to get to the ring size, gap size that we want. So, show you that right here in a second. Alright, here we have our top ring. You see the little M right there. Pretty cool. For MAHLE coated, I'm going to assume. This is going to be number 2, so we will do number 2 first. I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand. Well, maybe we can get close. Let's get close, man. I can't do this in one hand. Anyway, we're going to put our ring in here, find our depth. Once we find our depth, then we will use the piston to push it in here and get it just the right depth. Once we have that, we'll feeler gauge it, see how far off we are and how much we need to file it down. I wanted to take a second here and show you actually, the kit that I bought has this piston ring for the top and this piston ring for the bottom, and I'll actually show you some here. This is a bottom ring. No, this is a top ring, I'm sorry. If you look at the side profile here, it shows you it should be square with a coated face on this side right here. That's how it should be coated. So if we look at this piston ring very carefully, focus. This camera is not having this shit tonight, y'all. I said to hell with all that focus stuff. Man, come on, damn. Well, anyway. Hard to see, but that's the piston ring. Alright, I'll show you a top ring here. That looks much different. Look at all the different choices you have down here. Well, I'll flip the rings over and just kind of examine them. This ring is very flush and flat on the top, right? Flip it over on the other side where there's no dot. See the dots on this side. That means up. Flip on the other side, there's a divot in the edge of the ring all the way around. If you look closely, you can see it. See it right there? I'll slowly turn it here, and you can actually tell that there's a groove in it, just like that. That tells me that this is the bottom ring, and the ones that have the M stamped on them are my top rings, so that they cannot be confused. Stuff them back in the box here. That's why we read the instructions, y'all. So I've got the top ring gapped at 0.25. See that there? Tits. It's beautiful, y'all. I'm going to go around and do the bottom ring now at 28. And I'm going to put this piston in. And I'll get it all in video. And I'm not going to record all 8 of these. I'm just going to record this one. And then I'm going to do it a little faster off camera. Because it takes a while trying to hold this damn camera. You see how shaky and shit I am? It's like midnight. And I've had a few beers. Alright, so I've got one piston ring in here. So, y'all, this kit that I bought has all the rings that I need, right? Okay, well, it's a file to fit kit. I knew I was going to be doing this, so I didn't buy like a direct fit ring kit. I knew I was going to have to file all these. So they come a little big, and I've got to cut every single one of them down, filing it wise with a file just to get it where I want it. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is my set of feeler gauges that I bought the other day. I told you about. It reads in thousandths. There we go. 35 thousandths, 30 thousandths, so forth and so on. 8 thousandths, 10 thousandths, yada yada. What we want on our top ring is 25 or 26 thousandths. And what we want on our middle ring is 28 or 29 thousandths. I'm really shooting for 25, 28. All right, well, we'll look for our feeler gauge that says that. Hang on a second, I'm gonna turn this dim light off. All right, let's try it again. There's a 30, 25. So we take our 25. You can see the ring gap right there. Take our feeler gauge here, and I bet you we're nowhere close. What do you want to bet? I bet it's not even close. I can get a good shot of it in here. My feeler gauges are oily. I just took them out of the pack. Nope, not even close, y'all. It's way smaller than that. Let's go to something really small like 9 thousandths and just see where we stand. 9 thousandths. Yep, see, 9 thousandths. That actually fits. In there. So, we have quite a bit. I just dropped my damn feeler gauges. We have quite a bit of grinding to do to get that down. So, what I do is I get the ring right in here on this inner lip. Then I take my piston that just has the oil scrapers only on it. So, you see it sticks out a bit. Take your piston and bloop. That's the perfect depth. Now you're perfect all the way around. See? Now we take our feeler gauges again. Just a double check here. It's cold as shit out here tonight, y'all. We got weather on the way. Dude, it's about to snow like a foot. Fucking world's gonna come to an end when that happens, y'all. Like really, really like Kevin Gates, really. Still 9 thousandths, dead on the money. That actually fits up in there. You're having a hard time seeing it, and that's fine. But that feeler gauge goes in there. We want that to fit 25, so we have quite a ways to go, y'all. So I'm gonna pull it off and file it down until I hit the mark. All right, I did some filing on it. You can see the gap there, and I got a 20 thousandths. 20 thousandths filler. Let's see what she's talking about here. All right, 20 fits. Let's see if 21 fits. I know it's not right, but I want to get an idea of where we stand. It's between 20 and 21 thousandths. Well, maybe it's 21 thousandths. Right there at 21. Still not big enough for us, y'all. We need it at 25 for the top ring. Yeah, okay, so that's 21 thousandths in there. We'll go a little more until we get to 25. We're getting close though, y'all. I like it. All right. Luckily, my camera died. Why do I say luckily? Well, I'll tell you a little story. So in a previous video, you saw me trying to take the rings out of the pistons, but they were so caked up that I couldn't get the rings out of the pistons without them either breaking or being completely wedged into the piston ring lands. And I ended up breaking one or two of them. Well, I needed something to kind of clean the ring lands out with anyway, and a broken piston ring works just perfect. All right, so as you see, there's a big pile of piston rings laying right here. That's the same rings that I took off the pistons originally and had sitting on the shelf in there. Well, and if you were watching the video just now, you saw me struggling to get the piston to go in the ring, to get the piston going in the cylinder, even with the spring compressor. All right. So here's where I got mad. All right, the first thing I want everybody to listen to me on here is, don't argue with me on this one. Just take you some mineral spirits in a bowl. That looks like shit, right? Because it's got oil and grime and shit in it that's been coming off of the pistons and the rings and the rod bolts and everything else that's soaked in that bowl to get stuff out. I want everyone to get a bowl and put some mineral spirits in it and take your pistons off the shelf, stick them in said bowl, and let them soak. Why? Well, this way we won't break piston rings when we try to take them out of the cylinders. And we won't have to buy new rings. And the story continues. The box of rings I bought. The number on the rings is 4.0295 diameter, 41858CP.030. Okay, where did I get this number from? I looked online a lot. All right, so I did a lot of research before I wanted to do this stuff to make sure that I got it right the first time. Wouldn't have to do things over, right? Better safe than sorry. So, back in the day, in another video also, I said that I had a passion for certain cars and certain things, and it goes way back, right? Okay, well, my dad used to race back in the day, and he raced 4-cylinders, not the point, but he raced Mustangs and Pintos, all right? And he raced Pintos at first until they were getting hard to find, then he switched to Fox bodies. 4-cylinder Fox bodies, super lightweight, pure stock class. All right, well, anyway, when he got a motor out of the junkyard or whatever, he would always take it to the same shop to get it worked on, to get the machine work done, because he didn't have the machine equipment. Okay, he would put the motor together, but he would get the parts and the machining work done at a certain race shop right down the street. This race shop has been there a long time. So I thought, you know what, I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know everything, so let me ask some questions first. And just make sure, you know, surely to God, there's been other people who are doing what I'm doing, local to me, who can help me out a little bit on this, right? Well, a guy I remembered from back in the day still works at that same race shop. My dad last raced in 1997. That's how long ago it's been. Believe it or not, this old drunk still works there. So, I don't know how many motors he's built. Thousands, I'm going to guess. So, being the infinite wise person that I want to be, but I'm not, I decided I'd call him up. Believe it or not, he still worked there. So I said, hey, do you remember such and such? He said, Shay, I remember the name. I said, well, I'm his son. Oh, okay. I got a question. I want to know what rings y'all use whenever y'all build a performance engine. And I want to know if you can tell me what the part number is so that I can at least be on the right track into buying stuff. Maybe I don't buy the exact same parts. Maybe I buy something similar, right? But if you could just kind of help me out a little bit, I would appreciate it. He said, sure, man, no problem. Here's the parts we always buy. That number on the piston rings is the exact number he gave me. The exact number. He said, we use this set of rings in every engine we build, LS based. So I said, hey, man, that's super helpful. I appreciate it, dude. I will order said parts because you're so specific. Sounds like you know what you're talking about. Well, guess what? He didn't know what he was talking about. So the part number 41858CP.30 is the wrong part number. It's backwards, but it's there. It's the wrong damn part number. The correct part number, 41858CP, not dash or .030. So I learned this yesterday morning, but .030 means 30 over. This engine hasn't been bored 30 over. This dude told me that they use that piston ring for every engine. What he didn't tell me was they bore almost every engine out. They don't hardly ever just hone it or just take 1,000th off. No, they always bore the damn motors out. Well, thanks for the information, asshole. So, guess what? I got the wrong piston rings. I ordered those piston rings. You saw me filing those piston rings down. They're now used. Fat ass chance that anybody's taking those back, right? So, after I talked to him and I built a little frustration up and I realized they were the wrong rings, I called up Summit, where I bought the rings from. Unbelievably, I got someone on the phone. I don't remember her name, but she was super freaking nice. I got on the phone with her, I told her the issue, and she immediately said, well, you have the wrong part number. After I told her what engine I had, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, she said, well, you have the wrong part number. Here's the correct part number. She gave me the correct part number, which I'm going to put right here. The fucking correct part number, so that everyone else can buy the exactly correct rings and make them work right. This is the correct part number. She gave me the right part number. She said, well, I'm sorry about that. I wish you would have called and asked first, and I could have told you that. And probably most people in here could have told you that. And I said, well, I called a reputable engine builder in the area. And she said, well, you know, a lot of engine builders in the area don't really do that. They just do their own thing and kind of make it up as they go. For fuck's sake. So, anyway, she said, I tell you what, I'll shoot you the piston rings you need, so long as you pay shipping. I was like, really? She said, yes, sir. You just pay shipping costs. I'll send them out, and we'll just call it even. She said, I seen your order. I appreciate you using us, so I'll send you some new piston rings. All you got to do is pay shipping. So guess what I did yesterday? I paid shipping. So the new rings are on the way. Problem. We got a winter storm on the way, and it's going to be a son of a bitch of a winter storm, apparently. We're going to get like 6 to 8 inches of snow. In the south, that means the world comes to an end. Okay? Fucking done. So, looks like I'm stuck till Tuesday. Now, I could go ahead and put the cam in, and I could go ahead and put the lifters in, a lifter tray, and some other stuff. But I want to wait. I want to do the pistons first. I want to get the cylinders filled up with pistons. I want to get the rings gapped first. I want to go step by step by step. And I know you could do that, and it's not going to hurt anything to have it in there already. But I kind of want to wait because I want to talk about the cam when I get it in. I don't want to stuff everything together. I want everybody to see it bit by bit. So, anyway, I'll get to back work on it later. The frustration level built a little bit last night, and I finally just walked away when I realized it took me about 2.5 hours to do one set of piston ring gaps. One. That should have took like 15 minutes for half the engine. It took me that long for one. I realized there was something wrong. Something in the back of my mind was just telling me these piston rings don't seem right. And there was a chance they weren't. And then I called and found out they weren't. So anyway, I'm going to get this video shot up online. Hopefully you guys learn a little something from my stupidity. And, you know, you don't always trust the people that you hear. You try to do all the research you can. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes they still say, oh, well, no, this is what we use. Well, shit. Then I realized, then I found out they charge like $8,200 to build a forged LS. $8,200? Holy shit. I could build 10 of these freaking cars for $8,200. Like, I don't want to make that legitimate bet or anything. But I could probably build a couple of them for $8,200. And they go fast. So, anyway. Video's going up. I'm going to try to let you know what I did wrong. I screwed up or some bullshit. We'll get the back work on it as soon as I can, as soon as I get the parts back. In the meantime, I've got some other stuff to work on. We'll do it in a separate video. I believe I got a leaking valve cover gasket in the EcoBoost truck out here. I want to pull it up in the garage the best I can. It's too damn big to fit in the garage. And see if I can't figure out where the oil's coming from. So, it's just a small trip. But anyway, till next time, guys. Here's some videos. I'll put them on one of these sides. Watch up if you want. I appreciate the new subscriptions. I appreciate the new follows. The comments are awesome. Thank y'all. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.